Another CN prototype in Group 1 is the Norma M20FC of Deldiche Racing, with 23-year-old Sam de Jong here. The young Belgian, former F3 Open and AutoGP drivers, teamed up with regular driver Luc de Kock for the season, and that's been a good choice. They've claimed pole for both races. Zandvoort's a technical track, he says, with flowing corners. You've got to link corners together in groups to get the best speed and grip through the sections. And that's the only way to fast lap times. If you look at a track like Zolder, it's much more stop-start. I'm used to both starts. I learned a lot in single-seaters, so I can tackle difficult corner combinations with a downforce car. And here at Zandvoort, that worked out well. Well, in my opinion, says Luc de Kock, Sam's got an extraordinary racing talent. I got to know him last year, was really impressed. I've been racing for a long time, as you can see from my grey hair, and all those years I've only met a couple of drivers with that kind of talent. Money's always an issue, of course, and so I'm trying to do my part to make sure he gets the promotion and the driving miles that he needs. When he gets in the car, he's got to be quickest of everyone, and that's his challenge. 18 cars rolling off the grid for the first race weekend. It's going to be tricky for these very light sports cars, trying to get the right temperature into their tyres in these cold, blustery conditions. And that's probably going to make the first couple of laps very entertaining, with Ko Kapian, Group 2 poleman, ready for the start of the season here in Zandvoort. And away they go. Good start from Henk Thees in the black machine on the outside. Down into Tarzan for the first time. Look on the left-hand side on the outside. That's Tim Joodsen in the Tartus. Tried to get third, but on the inside, Bob Herber in the Black Wolf retakes the spot. Second place is the car that was on pole. Deldiche Racing's Luc de Kock lost out at the start to the veteran Henk Thees. Now, can he counter-attack? It looks like he's been chased from behind. Yeah, Bob Herber right up behind him in the Black Wolf. Down the straight they come, and the Deldiche car pulling over on the right-hand side. Maybe they haven't got the balance right with the car. Maybe there's not quite enough aero. Luc de Kock manages to pull out on the straight, and now it's Herber who's under attack. Tim Joodsen in the Tartus. Well, the Deldiche Racing team looking a little worried, having lost the lead right at the beginning. Jörg Schumacher just a couple of cars back, and right in front of us you can see the white Norma, and down the inside goes Bob Herber. Takes away second place in the S chicane. Looks like there is more trouble for the red and white car as well. They're queuing up behind. The Tartus now, Tim Joodsen down the inside, takes away third place in the Kumo corner, and Jörg Schumacher's not far away. So the Tartus has gone through, and Schumacher in the Wolf down the straight now. Is he going to be able to catch Luc de Kock? Starting to close a little down into the braking area. He's got the inside line, flies down the inside. Luc de Kock uses the bank's corner to try and stay alongside, but loses out on the curb. He's gone down another spot. Second race of the weekend is a 60-minute enduro. Pole position goes to the Norma M20FC of Deldiche Racing. Luc de Kock doing the first stint, and hopefully more luck after technical problems resulted in them dropping from pole to sixth in race one. The sun is out, but it can be very deceiving. There's 2 warm-up laps because track temperature is still just around 6 degrees Celsius, and warming up the tyres will be quite a challenge with all these cars weighing in under 600 kilos. Luc de Kock sits on pole from the Black Radical of Henk Thees. Bob Herber's Wolf is third. Tim Joodsen is fourth in his Tartus ahead of Rob Campus and Jörg Schumacher. Philippe Leclerc starting in 8th place in his green and white Norma. He's second on the grid. David Hotoft alongside him is the poleman. Hotoft on the right of the screen as Henk Thees takes the lead down into the first corner. And Tim Joodsen going around the outside in the Tartus as well. So down to third goes the pole sitter. Out front, Henk Thees pulling away now from the second black car, Tim Joodsen. Luc de Kock, the white machine, that's the Norma. Then Bob Herber's Wolf. Jörg Schumacher in his Wolf, and Rob Campus in the red Radical sends it down the inside as he grabs 5th position. Oh, and spinning out, that's Luc de Kock in the Norma. Trouble at Tarzan, he's in the gravel. And that looks like some driver error. Now just locked a rear wheel, braking into the first corner, says Luke. I think the brake balance was wrong, simple as that, but Apart from that, car was great. In the Idis Superlights Challenge, 2 races are held on one day, a 30-minute sprint and a 60-minute enduro with a mandatory pit stop. Fastest in qualifying for both races in Group 1, Belgium's Sam de Jong and Luc de Kock with their Norma M20 FC. After technical woes at Zandvoort in the first race weekend, Deldiche Racing is clearly now the team to beat on their home track.
Ja, ik denk van wel. Gisteren was ik wel goed op weg, dus mijn persoonlijk beste tijd dat ik hier al gereden heb.
Yesterday our pace was really good, said Sam. I set my personal best lap time, and that was with traffic as well. I think I can improve by about 0.3 of a second maybe. I'm really keen to get into the 28s. Nobody's got in there yet, not with this kind of car anyway. So Sam de Jonge on pole, ahead of York Schumacher's Black and Gold Wolf. Then the Radicals, Danny Brandt, Donald Molenaar, James Abbott, then Tim Joosten in the Tartus. On board with York Schumacher outside the front row of the grid. Waiting for the lights to change, away they go then. The Radicals jockeying for position, both looking to the inside. York Schumacher on the wide outside line, holds off Donald Molenaar. With all that going on behind, Sam de Jong rushing away, still trying to get down into the 28s, beat his personal best lap time around the track, but it seems a little less grippy than Saturday. Sam de Jong then claims his first race win of the season, 1 minute and 4 seconds ahead of James Abbott, with Tim Joosten in 3rd place, one of the Radicals at least on the podium. York Schumacher dropped to 5th after spinning the Wolf. But finally, after the troubles at Zandvoort, a win for Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong. Sam saying, at Zandvoort we had double pole 2. We didn't do very well because of technical problems. We've had plenty of time to fix those, of course, and clearly it's much better. So I hope we can improve the car even more. So ready to go then for the 1 hour enduro 2-driver race with pit stops. Sam de Jong from York Schumacher, Pim van Riet, and the gap where James Abbott would have been. Then Tim Joosten and Philippe de Klerk heading the Group 2 field from Carlo Kaya and Paul Celias in their Pragas. Red lights are on, and away we go. You heard York Schumacher falter there because the lights hadn't changed. So too did the pole man. He's going to lose the lead. Pim van Riet dives inside. Tim Joosten takes 2nd. Schumacher trying to get 3rd. He drifts out wide. There is Philippe de Klerk in the Group 2 car. He takes 4th place overall in his green and white Norma, and he's looking for 3rd as well. What a rocketing start from him. Pim van Riet has the lead. Tim Joosten in 2nd place. Our pole sitter Sam de Jong in 3rd. Down the inside and way over the chicane. What on earth was going on there? Donald Molenaar. Another close call, hard to see, but Pim van Riet goes straight on here on the left of your screen into the runoff road at Hospital Corner. Sam de Jong takes the inside line as Tim Joosten also skates wide. And de Jong takes the lead. He now leads from Joosten. Donald Molenaar 3rd. Green and white Norma, Philippe de Klerk in 4th. But York Schumacher squeezes by him, and de Klerk has to take a little bit of avoiding action there. Mandatory pit stops midway through the race. Sam de Jong brings the car in to Luc de Kock. I think my start, my stint were okay, said Sam, but in the previous race I started to struggle a bit in the slower corners near the end. And that problem's here again. Not enough time between the races to fix it, so we need to find a solution on a test, maybe compare the data. Hopefully we can solve it this year, because you have to be very cautious in the slow corners. In the high-speed stuff, car's great. Overall, it's still good enough to take the lead, so hopefully Luke can keep it there. Well, Donald Molenaar already moved up to 2nd, although with 15 result seconds added to his mandatory pit stop, he closed the gap to Luc de Kock and puts on a daring move down the hill towards the Villeneuve chicane. Well, Molenaar, brave as he like, sweeps inside and then outside to take the lead, but he is soon back in the pit lane. He's been handed a drive-through penalty. The team's pit stop apparently 1/10 of a second too short, and that will drop him back into 2nd spot. Well, that penalty gives Luc de Kock plenty of breathing space. He races on to victory. Good news for him and Sam de Jong. They scored very few points in Zandvoort. That will boost their championship chances.
Het was eigenlijk nog wel eens nodig, ja.
Bad time. I think we did a perfect job. He said the car was perfect this time. We decided our strategy beforehand, stuck to our guns, and the result was good. Schumacher and Van Splinteren lead by 3 from de Kock and de Jonge after the first 4 races of the season. We start our action with the first Idis Superlights Challenge race of the weekend. Again on pole, Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong from Deldiche Racing. In the previous race weekend at Zolder, they were dominant, winning both races, but they weren't happy with the balance of their Norma M20 FC. So has the problem now been solved? Not quite there yet with the setup, says Sam de Jong. We're struggling a little bit with understeer in the fast turns. In the slow corners, we've got the car set up perfectly, but that's really just down to fine-tuning. Overall, the car's very good. We can keep up a good pace. But of course, as a driver, you always want a perfect car, so there's still things that we need to improve. You can see York Schumacher's Black Wolf on our right. Donald Molenaar, the pole sitter. Away we go, and a good level start from Luc de Kock in the white car. Pim van Riet on the outside of the front row. Van Riet takes the lead. Through goes the green and white car of Philippe de Klerk. Pim van Riet chased by Luc de Kock all the way through the 30-minute sprint race, but he finishes 5 seconds ahead of the Deldiche Norma to claim victory. It might have looked easy, but Pim van Riet knew the potential of the Norma behind. Ready for race 2, the endurance race, and it's pole again for the Deldiche Racing Norma N20 FC. This time Sam de Jong will do the first 25 to 35 minute stint. Luc de Kock will take over midway. Henk Thijs starts second with the Radical SR8. He'll do the whole race on his own. That'll be no problem though for the 70-year-old reigning Group 1 champion. There's Donald Molenaar in front of us. Dick Freebird should be alongside him. Oh, it looks like he's trying to get a run here at the lights. Are they going to change? They're not. He has to lift off. Past goes Molenaar. He'll take the lead of the class. And there's David Hotoft as well. Look at the black car. Henk Thijs shuts the door, and Sam de Jong and Joey Van Splinteren went right around the outside to lead in the Wolf and a spinner. And that's de Jong. Dick Freebird just avoided that. De Jong there, the white car very slow right at the tail of the field. So what happened? Well, Henk Thijs in the black car in the centre of the shot tries to shut down the white car of de Jong, but he blocks him. They leave the door open. Van Splinteren goes around the outside. De Jong on the wet, loops it round, waiting for the impact. Unfortunately, it never comes. But now these two identical Norma M20 FCs nose to tail, and de Jong struggling, can't get by. The cars have the same top speed, same amount of grip. He's got to try and force a mistake out of Delafos. And when he gets in the slipstream here in the quick corners, he's going to lose grip and downforce under braking. Oh, and Delafos just holds it together, goes across the gravel, and somehow comes back in front. Normally, the two Normas battling each other like this would be good for a car in front. They'd be slowing themselves down. But in fact, it seems Sam de Jong is quite happy to sit with Damien Delafos and let their two cars work together. And the result is clear right in front. That is Henk Thijs, the second place Radical SR8. And this could be the ideal situation for Sam de Jong. He's pushing Damien Delafos up into the bank of Henk Thijs there right in front. The first of those two black cars. And that might give Sam de Jong the opportunity to get by. Not here into Eerste Linkse though. Carlo Kaya's gone off in his Praga R1. He's being rescued. And now they go green. Henk Thijs catching a car in front. It's Philip Daniels in the Radical Pro Sport. This is a great chance for Sam de Jong. The Pro Sport has held up the black car in front of him. He's going to make the move on Damien Delafos. There's just room to squeeze by. And through he goes under braking. So he's finally got by Delafos for third place. Henk Thijs right in front, and there's more traffic too. Into the pit stops, Luc de Kock taking over from Sam de Jong. And as he gets ready to go out, de Jong explains, had a good start, should have had the advantage into the Eerste Linkse, but Henk Thijs was much quicker with the drag race down in the Radical. But the weird bit was he was on the dry, he'd have been quicker through the corner, but he decided to block me to defend maybe. And that kept us both out on the wet part. Van Splinteren went around the outside. I made a stupid mistake, just too eager on the throttle, spun.
En dan ben ik gewoon mijn eigen fout achterkant verloren toen ik op het gas wilde gaan. Dus heel
dropped to the back, tried to make up the lost time, got stuck behind the other Norma, and then towards the end of the stint managed to get by him, but unfortunately, of course, we've lost quite a lot of time. Luc de Kock in the white car came out in second with 10 result seconds less than Henk Tace, but Tace closed the gap. Battle is on for the runner-up spot. Well, the Radical with horsepower its advantage, downforce and grip there for the Norma is its trump card. But here, down past the pits, Henk Tace with a really good run, and Luc de Kock stays on the racing line, does not defend, and that is the change for second place. Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong had a plan to attack for first in the championship. 2 places behind though, their plan failed after Henk Tace got by into second spot. Our Wolf duo started race 2 with a single point lead. They now have a 5-point advantage, but that's hardly a big margin with 34 points on offer each race weekend. Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong are currently second in the standings, but by taking pole for both races, the difference now from them to the leaders is just 3 points. Don't really have a strategy, says Sam. I think we just got to be the quickest all weekend, make no mistakes and win the race. That's the only way to close the championship lead, but we're ready. Poleman Sam de Jong leads them away in race 1. He'll do the entire race on his own. Championship leader Jörg Schumacher in 5th place. The black and gold Wolf driver being a little cautious down into the first turn. Comprehensively outbraking himself on the left is Bernd Rosenschon, and inside picking up 2 or 3 places the Tartus of Tim Jursen, who started in 5th position. Better news for Schumacher is that Henk Tace takes the lead from de Jong, and there's only 1 car between the 2 of them. However, on lap 8, the car dies at the hairpin. But maximum points go to Sam de Jong with pole position, fastest lap and the race win. With their biggest rivals out of the race, he and Luc de Kock take the lead in the championship, but Sam is still not satisfied. Start was okay, but I just couldn't keep up with Henk Tace. He's too quick on the straight. I tried everything to get closer, managed to pass him on the outside just before the pit stop window opened. After the stop I had to push really hard. I had no idea where Van Splinteren was. I didn't know they were out of the race. Race was red flagged, don't know why. I'd rather kept going until the checkered flag, but it's a race win. I guess that's all that matters. Starting from pole, Luc de Kock in the Norma has a comfortable championship lead, so he will gamble on slicks, but getting temperature into the tyres on the cold, damp circuit will be an issue. As Jörg Schumacher discovers going off on the outlap as they remove the grass, you can see that the car is in fact on cut slicks. Now, unfortunately, they are not legal. Ready for the start of race 2, everybody on slicks apart from Philippe de Klerk and Wim Juris. Luc de Kock, the white car from Pim van Reert. Jörg Schumacher 3rd in the Black Wolf. Tim Jursen in 4th in the Tartus, the orange and black car, ahead of Bernd Rosenschon and Philippe de Klerk in the green and white Norma. De Klerk on wet weather tyres should benefit early on, but then it's all about tyre wear. Good start from Pim van Reert in the Radical SR8. The red car will take the lead into La Source, and Jörg Schumacher on the inside. Luc de Kock in with damage on the Norma. Contact with Jörg Schumacher in La Source. We saw the car smoking. Body panels are off, and he's got oil flooding all over the flat floor of the car. Just 1 lap and our race was over, he says, on the exit of La Source. I think it was Schumacher misjudging the slippery conditions. Bumped into the side of me. That damaged the radiators, and race over. In the championship, Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong are still the leaders because Jörg Schumacher and Joe Van Splinteren get no points for 3rd place because they use cut slicks, so a blessing in disguise for Deldiche Racing. Ready for the start, lights go off, away they go, look at the red car, Rob Campus looking to the inside, Philippe de Klerk going with him. Yellow car in front of us is Kokopian. Wow, around the outside, Tim Jursen and contact just in front. And that was David Hotoft in the Norma, the blue and white car hitting Kokopian. And our man Dick Freeberg goes by both of them. Sam de Jong with the lead at the end of lap 1. Tim Jursen in the Tartus in 2nd, battling for the championship. Jörg Schumacher in 3rd. Slippery conditions out the back in Osnabrücken. Jörg Schumacher Goes out wide and the gravel trap is waiting for him. And he can't escape it. And that is going to cost him a lot of time. Joey van Splunteren knows that is not good news. Jörg Schumacher ends up fourth as Sam de Jonge wins race 1. Deldiche extending their lead in the championship to 16 points. Second in the race is Tim Josen, 20 points behind now. And Rob Campus is in third. Sam saying, I saw Jörg stuck in the gravel a few laps into the race. I know it's not right to say it, but I was hoping he'd kind of stay there. But they pulled him out and he still managed to score some points, so we got to finish the job tomorrow. Hopefully luck will be on our side to win the championship. We hopefully will finish the race and make no mistakes. So to the grid for the final Idis Superlights Challenge race of the season. Pole once more for Deldiche Racing. Sam de Jonge will take the start. And with the extra point for pole, they've now got a 17-point advantage. They just need to finish the race to become champions. Well, the rain has stopped as we get ready to go. The track's still wet here in Assen though. And Joey van Splunteren on row 2 of the grid. Sam de Jonge on pole position. Rob Campus made a lightning start to race 1. Here we go again. And a great start this time from van Splunteren. Dives to the inside. Sam de Jonge being cautious as Rob Campus's Red Radical takes the lead. The Wolf skating up the inside in second. And de Jonge trying to stay out of trouble. Kokopian taking the Group 2 lead. That's the yellow rear end of his car, but around the outside of him goes David Hothoff to retake the lead, and a challenge for the lead here. Joey van Splunteren just holding on in front of Rob Campus. Luc de Kock watches as teammate Sam de Jonge drops further behind Group 1 leader Joey van Splunteren, but their tactics were to stay out of trouble. The only problem is slowing down might cause errors. It could be a technical issue as well. The team keeping an eye on the competition. De Kock has to complete 50% of his stint to win the title. He knows what can go wrong. He dropped out of the final race 2 years ago when he was favourite to win the Supersport title. Sam de Jonge is in, Luc de Kock will take over. De Jonge has managed to stay out of trouble, and that was their plan.
Ik moest gewoon rustig zijn, hè.
My job is to take it easy. Van Splunteren and Schumacher have nothing to lose. We've got something to win here. It's the only thing I can do. I've got to say thanks to Deldiche Racing for the chance they've given me. I just had to keep the car in one piece in the first stint and try and make them the champions. And to do it, I've got to put my ego aside, let the leader go. So I resisted the temptation to battle Joey. Sounds easy, but as a racer, you always want to compete. But it was the smartest thing to do, so be it. So in their first year in the Idis Superlights Challenge and their first with a CN prototype, Deldiche Racing win the Group 1 Championship title.
Dat is fantastisch. Ja. Laat ons zeggen.
Just fantastic, says Luke. Sam did all the hard work. I only had to finish. Everything was perfect. Very pleased. Tim Josen almost caught Jörg Schumacher and Joey van Splunteren for second in the championship as the CM prototypes make up the top 3 spots against the more powerful Radical SR8s.